1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We want to welcome everybody to another edition of We Say What They Can't. I think I'm about to change my name from the instigator. I was told that's a bad thing. That shouldn't be an instigator. So I think this week I'm not going to be the instigator.
What you gonna be this week?
I don't know. It'll come to me before the show is out. I'll figure something out. But I'm Big Shot Rock. To my right, the first lady of We Say What They Can't, Cinnamon.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm gonna change my name too.
So what?
We gonna come back later.
Rest in peace to Sunday Fun Day. I was tired of that shit.
You what? Reef, that's how you feel?
Early, son. It's early. We ain't even get through the introductions yet.
Right.
We're gonna have to change it to the Pettinator or something.
Right. I like that Pyro too. I like it.
That might be it. To my left, my right hand man, Pyro the Fireman.
Yo. We in the building, man. Pyro, man. Brooklyn, we here. I wasn't never thinking about changing my name, but if I come up with something for the show's over, I'll let you know. But Pyro, we in the building, man. Let's go.
No doubt. We got a special returning guest.
Yes.
This time, last time, he was going through some things. Right now, he's coming back with some good news.
Yes.
Good news. Give it up for Sunday Moses.
Yeah.
How the fuck? I've been practicing on the damn first name, and I fuck up the last name.
You should be called a name wrecker.
Yeah, I'll fucking name up early.
Peace.
What's going
How y'all
on, brother?
doing? I'm good.
Welcome back.
Man. Welcome back, man.
Thank you.
Well, we want to first say congratulations.
Congratulations.
For getting that sentence overturned.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How do you feel? Like
that's like a the feeling is indescribable because it's been going on for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels great. But probably some people think that you get the feeling as soon as they say the case has been vacated, but it actually take a while for that to sink in.
And I'm sure with you probably lost so much faith in the system. You probably like, yeah, this shit ain't really over. They might try me again another year.
Yeah,
Well, let's take them back for those because we got maybe 2 or 3 more followers since the last time. You know what I'm saying? Now we got a little more than that. But for those that don't know, let's take them back to what happened originally.
Originally, I was charged with the murder of a young 4-year-old girl and attempted murder of 4 young individuals in Brownsville, Brooklyn, in 1995. This happened August 27th, 1995.
Wow.
The 4-year-old girl was killed, and the other 4 people were injured. And like approximately maybe a week later, I was arrested for that crime. Me and another individual who was actually arrested that day, and he was arrested because he had a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And this turned out to be one of the individuals who actually did the crime. So September 1st, I was arrested, and I eventually went to fought the case, went to trial, sat on Rikers Island for 2 years, and fought the case, and I ended up losing, and I got sentenced to 15 to life.
Wow.
And I was in September 1st. I got arrested September 1st, 1995. So that was a couple of days. It happened August 27th, 1995. I was 19 at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn. Like, I'm sorry. It just got And did you at least get credit for that time served for those 2 years?
Yeah, I got credit for that. So, but going to a maximum security prison, especially at that age, you still kind of learning life, like,
Right.
So.
And it's crazy, like your voice, like your voice just changed when you went. I guess you're going back to 95. Your whole tone, your demeanor just changed. So it's like you can't get that time back. I can only.
Yeah.
Pyro, what's up, man?
I mean, it's so deep to me because, every time we speak to family to the room right now, Mr. Moses, and we speak to my son, we speak to different people like that, and you went to jail. I just don't understand. Time is so precious. There's no do-overs. There's no practices. And to have the demeanor that you guys have when you come out and you were innocent, it's a hit on the system that you guys are even caught up in there. It's how do you even remain? I know your family was a big part of it, but how hard was it to, just remain with that demeanor that, I'm not going to come out here and be mad at the world. I'm going to come out here and do what I'm doing and make a difference and be better.
You know what? This might sound like a little cliche, right? But family support is definitely a major part of it, right? But the other part of it is having an education.
Okay.
Right? Because in a desperate situation, that's what helps you out. I learned that throughout life, you pay for what you don't know. Right? So if you got a car, for example, and something's wrong with the car and you personally don't know how to fix it, you know how it's going to get fixed.
You got to
You gotta
You
pay.
don't have to pay, right?
Yeah.
And that goes with everything in life. So I learned that, and in education and knowledge gives you hope, because you dealing with nothing but despair in there. You gotta remember, these guys, you got guys that's been got locked up when they were 16 years old and they never coming home again, period. Like, so your 20 years look like, to people that's forever, but your 20 years look like a blessing.
Yeah.
Because they saying, damn, all right, you're going to do time, but at least you're going to get to go home at some point. Like, I'm never going home. And so that's something to look at. So education and that type of environment, education gives you hope because you're able to go. You got to remember that we leave out the people who can't read, right? We leave out the people who's been wrongfully convicted that can't read.
I hear about that a lot.
How do they get out?
Yeah.
You know how hard, listen, I can read very well and comprehend very good. My parents, they sent me, like I said, they sent me to Catholic school. They paid tuition for that. They put a lot of effort into making sure that I learned.
And found out he went to school with Biggie.
Right.
Word.
Right, and they, a lot of different individuals, went to the school. They took on different things in life. Certain things happened, but the one thing that we did have was the education going to that school, right? They put a lot of effort into it at that time. And so that was giving me the strength enough to go into the law library and read and give me hope. Like, you know what? Damn, I know I didn't do this. You know what I'm saying? And something gonna give, because I'm not. One thing I said, I'm not stopping. Like,
That's what I was going to ask.
I'm not
Was there ever a
stopping.
time that you feel like you know what, I give up? Well, you answered it already. Now, another question. While you were in there, was it like, you talking to, your cellmates or whatever, with one of them, you lied. Because, I figure everybody in there, I'm sure a lot of people in there think they
I ain't do it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, did they believe the most
I
of them
stopped
believe
telling people.
Really?
I stopped telling people because I knew how it sounded. You didn't even have to tell me. I knew how it sounded when I say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because so many people run that story.
Right.
Imagine, see, and then you talking about friends. Imagine trying to say that to a parole board.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Was anybody mad in jail? Like when they hear, because I know for people I know who's been inside, they say when you do or accused of doing crimes against kids, people are more angry. So did you have to like explain yourself more? Like, yo, I didn't do it because I don't want nobody thinking that, I had something to do with this 4-year-old child's death?
Nah, fortunately, luckily. See, when I first got locked up, the community was,
Yeah.
like, the
Okay.
community was, like, they had a big, like, when I was coming out the precinct, it was on the news and everything. you know?
Right.
So when I'm coming out the precinct, it was like a whole bunch of people standing outside the precinct, and they screaming stuff, yeah, you baby killer, and, you doing this, you doing that.
Right.
That was probably the first time where I kind of like felt the reaction from what happened, like, and the severity of everything. Because I was like, when they locked me up, I was like, innocent person can be real naive too, because you ain't do it. So I'm like,
They gonna find out.
right. That was my attitude. Like, they just making some type of mistake. They'll figure it out. Who the hell thinks that that you're gonna wake up and be put in a place that you've never been? Like this was crazy. So, there was people that had that type of attitude, but I really never had to face that in jail, fortunately, right? Because, it's sad to say that in prison, right, in New York, Brooklyn is a heavily populated upstate. And fortunate for me, I knew the people that I knew. Right? So I didn't really face that type of problem. Plus, everybody in my neighborhood, I'm from Fort Greene, so everybody in my neighborhood knew that I didn't do it.
Right.
right? So that helped in a way too, because people was like, "Yo, I heard that kid." Like it spread, like I
Word
heard
spreads
that kid
fast,
really didn't
yeah.
do that. Like, that he got locked up, but I heard he didn't do it, right? And so that's what was kind of what was said too.
It's a lot.
Max got notes. She don't take notes for anybody. So
Nah, it's a lot. Like I want to congratulate you on being exonerated. Like,
Thank you.
but how are you doing right now?
I'm doing, I'm in a transition period right now, because, of course, I have to file a lawsuit. You have to file a lawsuit within 90 days of a conviction.
if you're ever trying to invest the money and we say what they can, just get a contact now. I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm not playing. No, what you saying?
I'm looking. It's funny because we all know. You gotta remember, I'm the 13th person
Wow.
from this cop this case been
Right.
vacated. Just from this cop. We're not talking about the other things that happened in Brooklyn. Just from this one cop, I'm the 13th murder conviction that's been vacated, attributed to him.
Right.
That's
Right.
crazy.
So I have sort of like a sorority of people
Yeah.
to lean on before me. So there's people that got vacated. Their crime got vacated 2-3 years ago, and they already got their money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm able to look at them, and they're able to talk to me, and they're
Say
able to
this,
say,
yeah.
listen, this is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People just did a whole bunch of stuff, right? So I got 12 people before me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the 13th one, right? So I got 12 people before me to look at and say, and I also am the youngest. Because everybody that got locked up they were young too, but they were like 20s and some were in their 30s, right? These guys are in their 50s and some in their 60s now. Right? I got locked up when I was 19. So I was like one of his youngest victims and latest ones, because after he locked me up, he retired 4 years later. Right? He retired and he locked me up in 1995. He retired in 1999. After being a detective though since 1975 or 6.
So he was able to get out there with his
Pension?
pension and every
No.
fucking thing.
Got his
Why
pension.
his punk ass ain't been charged?
No. Hold up. They gave him an award last year,
Yes.
Just last year?
September.
Wow.
They gave
Just
him an
last
award.
year.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
I know that was like a slap in the face. Like,
Oh my God. Like,
Why hasn't
But
he
that's
been
why-
charged yet? Why can't he be charged? Like, what's going on? I know there's certain things about the statute of limitations and things like that, but if somebody did this much wrong, cases are getting overturned, lawsuits are being made, cities losing money. Like, it's why hasn't he been charged with anything?
see, this is why I commend, we say what they can't so much, right? Because and other people that's using this platform to spread word about things like this.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. It's so important because the DA's office is really trying to sweep this under the rug.
of course they are.
They really trying to sweep it under the rug. You see that question you just asked about why, our check, our hard-earned money, our families, right, is paying for his pension right now, right? So he's not facing a criminal charge, and he's getting paid for what he did, right? And then he's getting awards. So that is a slap in the face, right? Not only to me, but to the many other people. I know a guy who Scarcella arrested. He did 27 years. His mother died.
Wow.
Like, come on, like, you don't think that's, so the official answer for what you asked was that they said the statute of limitations ran out to charge him with anything, right? Because it happened, because he locked up guys, in the 80s.
So what is
In
the
the 90s.
what is the official? Is it like 10 years, 15 years? Do you know?
I don't know exactly the time, but the highest statute of limitation is murder, right?
yeah,
Because
that's-
there's no statute of limitation, right?
Right.
So everything else under that has a statute of limitation, right?
Right.
And so it happened so long ago that even though I haven't looked at it, but I'm not even trying to fight it on that level. I'm trying to tell them, listen, okay, you saying the statute of limitations ran out. Now, a lot of people confirm that. My lawyer said, yeah, it's true. A different lot of other people said it's true, other lawyers that I know. So But that wasn't my thing. My thing is that y'all not trying hard enough because he's gonna uncover a larger corruption.
Exactly,
Right.
in the DA's office,
And
because he wasn't doing that by himself.
No, he wasn't.
Exactly.
And he already threatened. He already threatened that. Right? But it was a threat that a lot of people didn't catch. But what he said was, this isn't the Louis Scarcella show. He said, I'm just a cop. I don't take people to trial. I don't do that. I have to turn my case over to a district attorney, an ADA, right? So he left it there. So the people that knew that they was implicit in these things, they caught it. The rest of the general public didn't, right? But they knew. They said, hold up. Now, the reason why I say that they have an opportunity to get him, look what happened to Little Kim, right? Little Kim, in the shooting in front of Hot 97. She went and did, I think, a year and a day, right? And she did a year and a day for what? Not for the shooting.
She ain't say, because she ain't say nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The grand jury, not the grand jury.
Because she lied.
She lied. Said she
under
didn't
oath.
know certain people. Yeah.
So under a federal grand jury, I'm just painting that for you. I'm painting a picture for you. Under a federal grand jury, they don't have to charge you with anything. I know a bunch of cases like that. But what they do is they say, okay, the feds, they slick. They say, if you embezzled money, if you had a shooting or something, we can't get you for that. Statute of limitations might have ran out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to call you. We're going to subpoena you to testify under federal grand jury. We're not going to charge you with it, but we can ask you about it. And if you lie about it, then we'll get you.
So they can do that to him, but they not.
They're not. They could call him in and say, you know what? We can't lock you up for these things that you did, but we can question you about it. And if you lie, because you're on the oath, if you lie about it, which he will, so what they decided to do was not call him and leave him alone. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna vacate these cases. We're gonna pay these people this little bit of money. They got it. It's not like we breaking them. You can't think like, oh, I'm getting money, or like you doing something. No, we're going to pay you and we're going to do it again. And we're going to continue to do it to other black people. Right? And so that's why it's personal for me. It's not about me having money because it's not fixing the problem. Right.
Yeah, you can't put a price tag on that. Damn. What was the biggest adjustment that you had to make when you came home?
I'm kind of still adjusting. And, you know.
So what's the biggest one?
You know, I'm still. Well, the biggest one is professionally. Right now, I have to figure out how am I gonna get a check professionally, right? Meaning that I don't have the education enough. You know that anytime you dump a bunch of money on an uneducated person, that's like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
They're going to blow it, yeah.
Right? I know that, right? And I'm not saying that I'm uneducated. It's just that I'm not educated in business, right? I never owned a business.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know how to own a business. I went to a store the other day and I said, yo, I want to buy the store. How much you selling the store for? He said, I'm selling the store for $70,000, right? I said, okay. And then I left and I said, you know, I don't even know if he jerking me or not. Right? I said, I don't know if the store goes for $70,000.
Well, you got to compare the prices in the neighborhood. So, yeah.
Right. So this is what I'm...
That's funny.
But I'm confident of the same way you can go in that law library and do the research. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing.
But
Right.
you know, but speaking of that, like on the terms of that, like you also have a situation where you came out being wrongfully convicted, had to go through all the legal system, getting your case overturned, but you came out owing a lot of child support. You went into jail when you was 19 years old. I have a couple of questions. One, do you think it's fair for someone to accumulate child support while they're in prison? And secondly, especially if they're wrongfully convicted, that to me, it should be overturned because it's not your fault.
The answer to that is no, for either one. Somebody that's been wrongfully convicted or somebody that's just been locked up. But I you know, the logic with somebody that's been locked up, right? It's called willful unemployment. Right?
Oh, so like you did something to not be unemployed, so you got to pay. Oh,
There you go.
Okay.
So
Smart
states
today. You smart today.
so states has always treated that a person committing a crime as willful unemployment, meaning that you made a willful decision to go out and commit a crime, and the result was you were unemployed. But that was a decision that you went into committing the crime knowing that there's a chance that you could get locked up and be unemployed. So they call that willful unemployment, right? But even in that instance, the interest, when you talk about family court, the interest is supposed to go to the child.
Right.
The best interest of the child. Right. It isn't about what this person did to commit a crime.
Right.
Right? Because no matter what he did, the facts are he is not present and he's not able to make money. That is the black and white fact. No matter, he could have did anything. I don't like what he did. He shouldn't have committed the crime, but here are the facts. I'm concerned about the child. I'm not concerned about what he did.
Right.
And if he can't pay, then we're gonna have to figure out a way to, the child survive and him not come home to such crushing debt. Reason being is because that is counterproductive.
Absolutely.
Right? Because he'll never be able to pay. You're talking about a felon coming home. What kind of job you think he's gonna get?
Right.
Right? He's a felon, so you have to assume that he's not gonna get a great job. Right. He's gonna get an okay job, maybe, if he's even able to do that.
Right.
But if he gets an okay job, he comes home to crushing debt. For me, mine was $40,000, right?
Wow. And even with that, he was 19. What were they basing that on? Was that the full?
Is it the main minimum payment?
Right.
Well, when I got arrested, my son was like 8 months old, and his mother is young too, right? So she was young too. So she was kind of like, so she got on public assistance.
Oh, I got it.
Right. So
bullshit.
public assistance, she was on public assistance for maybe a year tops. Then she enlisted into the military. She ended up doing 20-something years in the military, and then she retired out the military. So she's doing good, right? But that year continued to accrue.
Get out of here.
Over a period of 18 and a half years.
That's crazy.
Right? Not only
To
did
$40,000?
Yeah. Not only that, that's the part that was owed to DSS. They split that total. 10,000, maybe like 10,000 some change went to DSS, Department of Social Services, and then the rest was personally going to her.
Yeah, because they usually don't get nothing like this, welfare. They get all that. They take all that. They give a little bit of this.
Right, but they wasn't. Yeah, no.
But listen, and I know it for a fact because my father went to jail. My father went to jail when I was probably like 17, 18. And when he came home, I probably was like 25, 26. And he got a job. And my mother started getting child support checks. I was like, hand over my check. That's my money. Big grown woman going to work. Give me my check. I want my money.
I know how your mom's.
My mother was like, girl, please, you ain't getting nothing.
Like, how did that affect? Well, we know how it affect, but what's the relationship with you and your kid now?
Me and him, we still building, but it's okay. I think it could be better, but we still building. He in the military now.
Oh,
He's
really?
in Kentucky right
nice.
now, yeah. And then now he had a baby recently too.
Oh, grandpa.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
Yeah, so he had a daughter.
I call those second chances.
Yeah, I feel like that too. That too. So he, we have a good relationship. Me and his mom don't, of course, because I'm going through the situation that, because she has the power to say, you know what? Mm-hmm. She has the power to stop it, but she won't, right? And that's what I mean about, it warping certain things, right? I'm not cold-hearted to certain things. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, I acknowledge and see not only what my incarceration did, but what probably you went through because of that, right? You're a young girl stuck out here with a baby, father gone, You know what I'm saying? That could be tough for a young girl. And you know, her family is not, you know, my family is more close knit. Right? I'm the youngest of 8 kids. I got a lot of brothers and sisters, and we all get along. Right? We don't have sibling beef, rivalry, and none of that stuff. Right? You know, my mother and father's there, always been. So my family is close knit. So if my sister had a baby, it's like everybody is there. Like it's like a party in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Her family is a little different. You know, they're not that tight knit. So she was kind of on her own. Really was on her own when I got locked up. So I understand her hardship. So it's a lot of, I guess, a lot of bitterness, a lot of anger, just a lot of stuff on both sides. Me personally, I'm a little bit, I'm more forgiving, right? I didn't feel like, oh, yo, you wasn't there for me when I was locked up, so I'm coming home. You know what I'm saying? I didn't never, at first I did, but I was young, you know. Yeah. But as time went on, I got older, you know, life went on, you know, and I looked at those different things. So now that, you know, I came home, I didn't have that anger, but she still held on to kind of certain little things, right? And so that's what led to, you know, like she didn't want me. It was crazy, you know. It just affects a lot, and so it translated into her not wanting to, despite the fact that I was in jail for a crime that I didn't commit.
Do she believe you? Because I don't maybe.
Well, you kind of have to now.
I mean,
right,
at the time,
damn.
Well, did she believe you?
At the time,
she probably was like, maybe.
I don't know, because I'll tell you this. I think that, you know, I always think, because I had got a letter from her, right, a long time ago. One of the few letters that I did get from her, right? And I remember it was a rap song, right? I don't know, was it? Oh, it was Jay-Z. And he was like, the feds is bleaching your dome, or something like that. You remember that line?
Yes,
right?
yes.
This joint with him and Too Short.
Right.
Yes.
She was all good just a week.
And so, right. So, right.
What?
I had felt, right, I had got a letter from her one day, a long time ago, and she was in the military.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I always felt a way about the military anyway. Not that it's not a way out for people, right? But I think that it's an option that we are forced to make, right? Mm-hmm. We do it as a sense of out of sense of desperation, right? It's an option. You can go to school; they'll pay for it. You can have certain benefits,
Right.
Not just because, I'm going to join the army and fight for this country that ain't do nothing for. Right. So I always felt I had my reservations about the army, but I never knocked it.
Yeah. Right.
Do what you need to do. So she wrote me one time and she was like, yo, you know,
that's hit him up. This Martian ain't big. You can't play that. Go to the next song.
That's it. Yo, listen.
Reed, we gonna have to talk about that.
I don't want
that's gonna come out of your.
I don't want no beef with nobody out there, but
Right.
when we say what they can is playing, I would rather know Tupac instrumentals being played. 'Cause that's for another conversation for another
Well,
day.
let's get back to the Jay-Z line.
I cannot.
I'm sorry. A little pause for the cause. Sorry about that.
No doubt. Yeah, so, you know, it was like, she had wrote a letter saying, oh, you locked up for murder. Like, she was saying it, you locked up for murder, and like, she was, like, saying, like, you know, like, telling me, like, that's not a good thing. Like, you locked up for murder. And I was saying to myself, you know, that's the line that came to my head. I said, damn, the military really, like...
You don't.
Right. No, because I felt like she was around a lot of patriotism, right? For her country. And she's fighting for her country. And maybe the people that she's surrounded around is making her feel bad, or maybe making her feel a certain type of way because her kid's father is in prison.
Right.
So she gets this attitude of, you know, you locked up, and like I'm fighting for my country, and you locked up type. You know what I'm saying? Like, look how that looks to
the other people.
The other people that I work with.
Yeah.
I work around every day. That type of atmosphere. right? And so she kind of like, and I was like, damn, like, you don't know, I'm telling you. But she wasn't that close to my situation to really know.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Neither. You know what I'm saying? So I said, you know what, I don't have time for that. So it was like after that, I ain't heard from her for a long time. And then when I came home, but I said I didn't come home with any grudges. You know what I'm saying? I came home with just trying to reconnect with my son.
And what was that first conversation like with you and your son?
Well, before I came home, right? Because I went a long period. Because he was young, he was a baby when I got locked up. So I wasn't hearing from him for a long time, for years and years, right? Until he got like when he was like around maybe like 8, 9, he was at the stage where, his aunt or someone would come and say, Shaquille, his name is Shaquille, right? He said, Shaquille, write your father. Like, sit down, write your father. You run around, that type of stuff, right? And then he would sit there, someone would force him to sit down and write 4 or 5 lines. And they'll put it in the envelope and mail it, and they're like, your son writes you, just to make me feel better or whatever. Right. But then it came a point where he would write on his own. But that was like, he was like around like 14 by that time.
Yeah, it's different.
Like 15
He's
type.
in his own words now. Like,
right, you know what I'm saying? Like that's, emotions. That was, I remember like, I was like, I was waiting for that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, like for me and him to really have conversation, not So by the time I came home, like I had a stack of letters, like, you know what I'm saying? We had already been communicating, like I was, sending him pictures, he's sending me pictures, stuff like that. So the conversation wasn't so bad. Like it wasn't so like, oh, I'm just popping up, you never seen your dad, or you never. And I didn't see my son, like, I might have seen him like about 4 or 5 times in 18 and a half years. Like one time, I went like 10 years without seeing him. You know what I'm saying? But we was like writing, but I wasn't seeing him like that. So that part, you know what I'm saying? But when I came home and then when I seen him, my son played basketball. So he had a basketball game there he could play. He got videos on YouTube, all type of stuff, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he plays ball, and so I was supposed to, my first like seeing him, I was gonna go to the game. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to go, despite everything that happened between me and his mother. I wanted me and her to go together, right? Because he never seen me and his mother together, right? Ever. She was in the army, I was in prison. Remember, she did 20-something years in the army. Right. I did 18 and a half years in prison. So as a child, he was only 8 months when he got locked up, when I got locked up. So he never seen, and I think about that because I seen that. And I don't take that for granted. Like I seen my mother and my father, like they lived together. They eventually separated, but I've experienced a 2-parent household. Now, he probably never experienced that, but he didn't even see them together. He didn't even see them in the same space. Period. At any time. So that was my whole thing. Like, despite what we going through, I want him to see both of us go to his game. And he loved basketball. Like I took him to the game. His favorite player was Westbrook. I said, yo, I'm gonna take you to the game. We went to the game. Right? So we do different things. But it never even happened. She never came.
Right? But did you go?
I went, yeah. But
so what was his reaction when he saw you?
He was my son is like, is like me, kind of like when I was young too, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like real quiet, you know what I'm saying? And like just quiet. He's quiet. He's a quiet kid, and real smooth. He like ball, and he talks and plays and stuff. But like people that he close with, if he don't know you, like he'll sit there and be like quiet, like he won't say nothing. So it was hard to kind of get dialogue out of him. He was like real quiet. And I would have to talk to him. It's not like that no more. I would have to be like, yo, you all right? Yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? You want to do this? Yo, you need this? Right.
You have like no parole, no legal situations, like nothing going, like everything is done right now, as far as you know.
With the exception of
with the criminal case.
The criminal's over. I'm off parole.
So are you technically still a felon? That should
no,
be no. That's good. That's great.
You could drink. You could do anything you want to do.
I could travel.
Get him in a
We
drink.
would have offered him a drink.
Get
That's
him in
why
a
we
drink.
gave you water.
Well,
First
of all, Pyro ain't offer nobody a goddamn drink. He over here drinking much. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I got my little drinky drink. I'm over here drinking some green shit. I'm like, this motherfucker.
thought you had a little something in the
Yeah.
green shit.
Thanks a lot, Pyro.
That's cool. You know what I wanted to ask you? Have you had any contact with the little girl's family, Shimon Johnson?
Her cousin had to testify at the hearing. And he I didn't talk to him personally because it's funny because he's, you know, this case took so many turns because he's locked up now.
Oh.
The little girl's cousin who originally testified against me and said that I did the crime, he's locked up now for murder.
Look at this.
Right? And now, check this out. After I tell you what I tell you, right? This is, you know,
I'm nervous. I don't know how to feel. God.
You're gonna start. At least I believe it. I believe that you don't get away with anything.
No, you don't.
Let's talk about that. We was here.
You think you do. You think you do, right? But stuff hits you from sideways so many times, and sometimes you don't connect it. I can point out a bunch of situations, but this one is crazy.
What happened?
He's locked. I just told you, he locked up now for murder, right? And he got a lot of time. But guess what? He locked up for shooting a baby.
Wow. That's crazy.
His baby.
What?
Now, listen.
Holy shit.
He's messing with this girl, his baby mother. And I guess they break up or whatever. She starts dealing with another guy. Or it wasn't really made out what this other guy is. Maybe she's dealing with him, maybe he's a friend. I don't know. But she says a friend, he say he's dealing with her. You know, that type of thing. So they were living together. This is his baby mother. I guess whatever, when they broke up, one day he was like, yo, I want my TV. I'm coming to get my TV. And then he went to the house with his father. And they went to the house to get the TV. When they got there, this so-called friend or boyfriend or whatever was there. An argument eventually happens, ensues. This guy who testified against me and said that I killed his baby cousin.
And lied.
He pulls out a gun and shoots the guy, killing the guy. The bullet goes through him, hit his baby mother and the baby.
Wow.
With that one bullet.
I think he might have fired maybe more than once.
Oh,
That's crazy.
But the bullet went through.
Allegedly.
Went through him. It went through the guy that he killed, and it hit his son, his daughter's or son. I don't know what he got. Mother and a baby, and that's what he's locked up for.
So did all three of them die, or
No, the guy died, and they survived. The baby and
The mother
mother
survived.
survived, right? But he got locked up for murder, intent murder, and all this other stuff, right? So he came to the hearing, and he understands now. He's humble. Luckily for me, I'm not. I'm sorry that happened.
Right.
I'm not saying, oh, good for him. That's not my attitude. But I'm just saying this is how life happens. Right? Whether I feel sorry for you or not doesn't matter, right? You did something, and look at the result years later. Look where you sitting at, right? I'm really more on the feel sorry for him side than angry at him. I'm really not angry at him. I'm angry at the police. Not angry at anybody that really testified, because I think that they was taken advantage of too, because his little cousin was killed. It wasn't like he's doing this just cause.
Right.
He was doing dirt and he's some snitch and he want to put you in jail. It was none of that. He was a young dude. He was there. His little cousin got killed, and the police used him being a young kid, him being emotionally distraught at the time, because that's his little baby cousin, and he was right there. That's shocking. And police are experts. They know how to take that and use it. Just say that, we got the guy. All we need you to do, and keep in mind, his family. He expressed that at the hearing. He said, listen, I got a lot of pressure from everywhere. because I'm standing in front of the building. These guys come and start firing and shoot my little cousin. My family was on me. They wanted me to say who did it. But I'm from Brownsville. He said the neighborhood, because it's not like it's a little situation. It's on the news and everything. So the guys in the neighborhood are saying like, yo, don't snitch. He's saying this. And then he said, then the police, the detectives, the homicide detectives are coming to my building every day. Like, I don't, right, he like, yo, one time, they had to act like they was locking me up. They had to bring me out the building in cuffs because they keep coming to my building.
It's crazy.
So that's why he said, listen. I just said it was him, and knowing really that I didn't see him because it was so much pressure. That's what he was playing, and the judge understood that.
I'm shocked that you understand it. That's what I'm. But you know, it says a lot about you. Mike Tyson has said something before, like when he got accused of that rape, right? He still says he didn't do it, but he felt like he had to make himself feel like, you know what, maybe this was something I did before and got away with. Did you have to play mental mind games with yourself to get through that?
Listen. I played that game so many times. Yo, that is so much of a good question, because not only did I say not only did I say stuff that I did, because I wasn't an angel, you know what I'm saying? So I said, not only maybe I didn't kill nobody, though. Right. But I said maybe some of the stuff that I did, is coming and it might have come back. But I think it was more. If you believe in God, right? Yeah. You believe in an entity or whatever. I think it was more for me of, you know what? You out here wilding.
And you need to sit down.
Right. And what I'm going to do for you is, you're not going to like it, but you might like the results.
Right.
I'm going to sit you there for a very long time, right? Because you out here carrying guns, you selling crack, I'm doing all of that. Mm-hmm. And I'm young, like, you know what I'm saying? When I got locked up for that crime, I had already been locked up for a gun. I got locked up for a gun when I was like 16. So I was already kind of like on a messed up road. Mm-hmm. And the individuals that I was running with was like older, very dangerous cats, like serious dudes. So, and I was like just a young dude around them, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that happen to all young people if they're misguided in every hood across the country. You know what I'm saying? I don't care where you go. You go to Chicago, you're going to find some young kids around some older dudes that's just crazy or wild, and they're being misguided, right? But they might be smart kids, come from a good family, whatever. And that's the road that I was on. So I think God said, you know what? I'm going to put you in prison for all this time, right? And I could kind of see it clearly. Of course, I didn't see it clear. I don't want to see it like that for a long time. But a lot of my friends got killed. Yeah. A lot of them, most of them. I'm not even half of them, most of them. Right? I got a photo album that I got, throughout the years, people sending me pictures, and I was up north and different things. Like, I go through the photo album. Like, I'm gone. He dead. He died. He got killed. This person. Like, I came home, like, people had ate. Like, when I got locked up, like, I was not doing nothing. Like, I was not drinking, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't. So it's like a lot. When I came home, like, I seen a girl that I grew up with, real pretty girl. Like, she smoking crack. She got AIDS. She died. You know what I'm saying? Like, since I've been home. Like, when I came home, she was already been smoking for a long time and already contracted AIDS. So by the time I seen her, like, everybody was used to her. I'm like, yo, I want to, like, I came home, like, wanting to see her. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, like, my friend, one day she was walking her dog, and somebody seen her, and they knew, because I, like, told people, like, yo, I want to, because I couldn't believe it. So somebody seen her and called me and was like, yo, there she is right there. And then I seen that, like, they called her, and she walked, and I was like, yo, how you doing? She was like, it was crazy because it looked like I seen a sparkle of embarrassment. Like,
of course,
I don't want you to, like,
And then you ask how she doing. I mean,
Right.
you ain't making
But
no.
you know what?
Right.
But look,
But you know what? Sometimes these people, they don't know that they look like that. They still think that they
don't.
look like they did
in
before they
95,
started
but
smoking
they
crack.
don't.
Right.
But
Especially the best stock crack.
yo, we
Shut
got
up.
like a million more questions for
No,
you. You
absolutely.
know,
Yeah, I really do.
But we we got to wrap this up. But in taking this out, what do you say to any young man, young woman who's in your situation? What advice can you give them?
Crying?
The best.
I think Jenna crying over there.
I mean, I was getting a little emotional
I mean, look,
too.
18 and a half years, man, in a joint, locked up in prison, being taken from prison to prison, moving around, not being able to see your child, things like that. It's unimaginable for me. It's unimaginable for me even when I think about that. There's nothing you could do. There's no monetary amount you could put on that that'll make shit right. But with that being said, again, we got to go. So what's your message? What can you add? Any advice you could give to any young man or woman who's in the same situation that you were in?
I think knowledge is key in every situation, right? Know the law. You know, as black people, we're very ignorant to the law, right? And I say that because sometimes you're gonna find yourself in certain situations, but you need to know how to navigate in the courtroom, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. You know, if you think that money is gonna save you, it's not. It's not. Trust me, there's millionaires locked up. There's millionaires in federal prison. Millionaires upstate.
Money helps, though.
Right. Money
You got a good lawyer.
Money definitely helps, right? But what happens is this. What I've learned through the process, because I spent a lot of money.
They
on
gonna make
lawyers,
you spend it, yeah.
right? But listen,
Shout out Ron Kuby.
right? They'll make you spend it, and they're not qualified though, right? So just because you go to a mechanic and give him money, right? He'll do something to your car and mess it up, and he don't know what he's doing, and you paid this guy, right? And so that's like to say every lawyer that go to law school is Johnny Cochran. We know that's not true. Right? So, you know, my advice is to make yourself abreast with the laws of the land that if you live in New York, find out about, you know, I'm not saying go deep into it, basic. Learn how a grand jury works, what a grand jury is, right? Learn what a DA's responsibilities are and learn what an attorney's responsibility is. Those basic things, right? Traffic stops. You know that we young black males, right? We know that when you riding down the street that at some point in your lifetime that you may get stopped, right? Won't you learn about how to conduct yourself during that process so you won't end up like an Eric Garner or you'll end up like Philando Castro and these different type of people, right? So that's the advice that I give to people, you know, just learn, keep learning and keep trying to elevate. That's it.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Came home.
You gotta come back again.
I don't think there's a sneaker that came out since he came home that he don't got. Man's the ultimate sneakerhead over here. But yo, we appreciate you, man. Definitely, man. Come through, keep thriving, keep surviving, keep pushing, keep doing what you do, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Anything
Yeah,
you can do
welcome
to help,
back,
just
yes.
don't hesitate to call.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
All right, y'all. We gonna see y'all we off next week.
We are?
Yeah, we off.
We might have a show or the drop. We gonna see, but
I done booked somebody. God damn it.
peace out. You say what they can. We
Later,
out.
y'all.
I'm hanging out next week, okay?